Welcome to another episode of Fix It Tony. Today's job is replacing a pad on a random orbit sander. I want to make this into two videos because the other video I had about this particular tool was replacing the power cord, but you don't have to always do that when you're replacing this particular pad. You can see mine it's about 15 years old, this particular tool. It's been used quite well, and it has some damage to the pad and the wheels, and I think it has impaired its performance. The other issue I have is one of the screws did fall off, and one of the other screws is a little bit on the loose side. So I also purchased new screws. These are longer than the factory screws, so hopefully that will improve the connection. I did test fit one of the screws in the holes, so I know it does fit. I did order a replacement hook and loop pad that's compatible with this particular sander, so you can see the difference between old and new. That'll also improve the performance. All right, step one is remove these three screws at the bottom of the sander. Okay, once you have that removed, the old pad is no longer any good to keep. There's no other functions or actions you need to perform. You just simply line up the holes of the new pad, I should say. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start each of the screws 5 or 6 turns to help with my alignment, and then it's just a matter of tightening them all down. 2 and 3. Interestingly, the longer screws went well for 2 of the holes, but bottomed out on this one here. So there must be something to do with the design that doesn't allow it to go any farther, which is fine because I still have the old screws. So I'll put the one of the old screws back in the original hole, and I will tighten it down. This one doesn't seem to be tightening down very well. Let me try the other screw. The hole seems to be stripped. Fascinating. So what shall I do? I guess I'm going to have to unscrew this and test fit this other screw. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Loctite. So every job will have something that's not quite right. This is the long screw, the new ones, and I'm proving that there's enough distance and no interference. Interestingly, this is the hole that had the screw not tightening down far enough. But let's take a look at the nature of the hole. See how the threads, they look in pretty good shape, don't they? All the way up to the top, not too much damage here. Look at this hole. I think this was a manufacturing defect, because the pad that I have on my sander is the original. Look how this hole seems to be cut twice. You see this circle here, and then you see this circle here. So this looks like this was a manufacturing defect on the drilling side, because here's a nice perfectly spherical hole. Here you can see how the threads also don't go all the way to the top. here they do. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to see if this screw is metric or not. I'm going to see if I have a tap set. I'm going to see if I could re-tap these threads to see if I could fix it. I'll also use thread locker to help fill the voids between the threads, and that'll be my solution. The hole is actually not deep enough, so the longer screws bottom out. So that's the other problem I have. So I will have to use the original screw. So I got my tap set, a 832. I tested it in a good hole, and you know, it kind of works. This ratcheting tap handle is definitely overkill, and it may actually doesn't work. Oh, darn. I need to use pliers. I don't have a miniature, a smaller die holder, which is unfortunate. I'm just using my fingers. All right, I think that's about as good as it's going to get. Okay. I have thread locker that I'm going to put. I want to make sure I know which hole is the bad one. So it's this hole, that's the bad one, at the top of the triangle. I oriented the holes. I'm not surprised that the screw that was in the bad hole had fallen out because of its poorly manufactured hole to begin with. You can see I put some thread locker about halfway because the screw does go all the way through. Take one of these screws, the new ones that I bought, and cut it to the length to go in there, but I won't do that yet. So this completes the replacement Velcro based pad on my random orbit sander, and let's see if it works. Yep. And it's as good as new. I did clean the unit, so it'll be all good to go. So yeah, there was one hiccup on today's project, which was the screw, but I'm going to save the old screw because it's the right length. It's going to be the screw that I'm going to use as a backup. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day.